The word Sybaritic is an adjective derived directly from the name of an ancient Greek city, Sybaris. Located in what is now southern Italy, on the Gulf of Taranto, Sybaris was founded by Achaean colonists around 720 BCE. It was part of a region known to the Greeks as Magna Graecia, or Greater Greece, a collection of city-states that had blossomed far from the Greek mainland. What set Sybaris apart was its location. Situated between two rivers, the Crathis and the Sybaris, it had a natural harbor and was surrounded by exceptionally fertile land. This geographical fortune made the city an agricultural powerhouse, allowing it to produce an abundance of crops and livestock. This wealth, combined with its strategic position on key trade routes, quickly made Sybaris one of the most prosperous cities in the ancient world. The wealth of the Sybarites was staggering, and it gave rise to a culture of luxury that became the stuff of legend. Our knowledge of this comes primarily from later Greek and Roman writers like Athenaeus, Diodorus Siculus, and Seneca, who, in many cases, were recounting stories that were already centuries old. These accounts paint a vivid picture of a people who lived for comfort and pleasure above all else. They reveled in material possessions and spent their fortunes on art, fine clothing, and elaborate banquets. Their reputation for extravagance was so widespread that the name Sybarite became a byword for a person dedicated to a life of refined hedonism. The stories of their excesses are both fascinating and almost comical in their extreme nature, a detail that hints at a society with enough leisure and resources to dedicate time to such frivolous pursuits. They allegedly had special laws to protect the intellectual property of chefs, granting them a year-long exclusive right to their culinary creations. This suggests that food was not merely sustenance, but a form of high art and a source of social status. One of the most famous anecdotes recounted by the philosopher Seneca is of a Sybarite who, after spending a night on a bed of rose petals, complained that a single crumpled petal had given him a sore back. This story perfectly captures the core identity of the Sybarite, someone so accustomed to comfort that they had lost all tolerance for even the slightest discomfort. In Sybaris, noise was a nuisance to be avoided at all costs. The city supposedly had laws that banned noisy professions like blacksmiths and carpenters from living within the city walls, forcing them to conduct their work in the suburbs so as not to disturb the elite. For the truly wealthy, the ultimate status symbol was a private life free from any form of physical labor or sensory offense. Their feasts were epic events, lasting for days and featuring exotic foods, fine wines, and entertainment that was, by all accounts, second to none. The citizens' obsession with comfort extended even to their daily rituals, with many of them spending hours in baths and using a variety of expensive oils and perfumes. The very air of the city, one might imagine, was perfumed with the sweet scent of luxury. However, this life of unimaginable splendor came to a sudden and brutal end. The Sybarites' obsession with luxury left them soft, apathetic, and unprepared for a serious military threat. The city had a long-standing rivalry with its powerful neighbor, Croton, another Greek city-state in southern Italy. Tensions between the two cities escalated, and around 510 BCE, war broke out. According to the historian Diodorus Siculus, the army of Sybaris was enormous, numbering in the tens of thousands, but it was undisciplined and led by an arrogant tyrant. The Crotoniates, led by their famous wrestler and general Milo of Croton, were hardened and well-trained. Following their victory, the Crotoniates pursued the fleeing Sybarites back to their city. But instead of simply occupying Sybaris, they decided to erase it from history. They allegedly diverted the course of the Crathis River to flood the city, burying it completely under mud and water and leaving nothing but a marsh. This act of total annihilation was meant to ensure that Sybaris could never rise again. The city's legendary life of luxury had been so offensive to its neighbors that they felt compelled not just to conquer it, but to wipe its very existence from the earth. The story of Sybaris's destruction cemented its name in the annals of history. not just as a place of wealth, but as a cautionary tale of what happens when a society becomes too self-indulgent and loses its martial spirit. From this dramatic history, the word Sybaritic began its linguistic journey. The name of the city, Sybaris, became a common noun in Greek, Sybarites, meaning an inhabitant of Sybaris, but quickly took on the connotation of a lover of luxury. The Romans adopted this term, and it eventually found its way into English, where it became a stand-alone adjective. By the time it was being used in English literature, it no longer carried any direct geographical reference. It was a word that encapsulated an entire lifestyle, one of indolent, sensual pleasure and excessive luxury. So, when we use the word Sybaritic today, we are not just describing a love of fine things. We are referencing a forgotten city, a cautionary tale of excess, and a culture that valued comfort over everything else. We are using a word that has survived for over 2.5 millennia, a word that carries the memory of a society that was so famously dedicated to pleasure that its name has become its most enduring legacy. It's a powerful reminder that our vocabulary is a living museum. Every word, even one as luxurious as this, has a history worth uncovering.